Welcome to the Inkwell's video review series, Love It, Hate It.
This is a series meant for people who have already seen the movies or who have read the book.
So there are definitely going to be spoilers.
Today we're going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. What did you think?
Well, I think, just to get it out there, it's almost impossible as a fan of the book, to not compare the movie with the book. I mean, that's just going to happen when we're reviewing the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you love the book and there's scenes that you desperately want to see into this movie, if they don't do it right, then ultimately you're going to have a grudge or you're going to be dissatisfied. But I think overall, adapting the book, they did a good job because there's scenes that you have to kind of incorporate and put upon one another. And I think that Steve Kloves, who've adapted all the Harry Potter films except for the fifth one, I think did a great job. Overall.
I mean, arguably, fans are already going to go into this liking the film, too.
Yeah,
I mean they're going to go into it with a little bit of bias, right? This is the last film.
Last one.
This is the last epic installment, 14 years in the making, 14. Right?
And you've read 7 books.
You've now
watched
seen 7 movies. You've
and
devoted
your childhood.
hours.
You devoted your childhood.
Your whole childhood.
To this movie.
To this series.
So
you're invested.
And this is it. And strangely enough, it's the shortest one.
I know. What is with that?
It's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Why couldn't they have played with the time a little bit?
Yeah.
Why couldn't they have pushed it to 3 hours? I mean, because there are things that were rushed that necessarily they shouldn't have been.
And I think that's generally my general problem, is there are things that are rushed that shouldn't be rushed, that should have taken your time.
All right, lay it out for me.
Yeah. Well, for example, the major scene is, for me, the cafeteria scene.
Where Harry just kind of shows up.
And in the book, it takes place over 2 chapters, and they come in, and they bump into McGonagall, and they go through the corridor, and they bump into Snape, and people are coming in. In the movie, it's one scene in the cafeteria.
And he's like, hey guys.
Hey guys.
By the way, here's some wizards.
Here's some wizards. Like, we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what now, Snape?
But, what now?
But they do have, this is very important to me, they do have the confrontation between McGonagall and Snape. And I went in, I remember reading the book, and I was like, yes, this is it.
McGonagall's got to throw down.
Throw down McGonagall's. And they had to film it quick because Maggie Smith is getting old.
Yeah.
She's in her late 80s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got to get to it fast. And they got it. Maggie Smith brought it. It was awesome. And the film looked great.
No, the
I'll
film,
say that.
It was visually stunning.
Visually
I have
great.
to say, in my opinion, it looked better than any of them thus far.
I'll say, if any of the summer movies so far. I mean, we've sat through a lot of them,
even than any of the summer
movies. This
movies.
looks great. And I didn't see it in 3D, and it made me kind of want to see it, to check it out, what it looks like in 3D.
But, I wonder if another reason we liked it so much in comparison to the summer movies is because it has such a dark atmosphere. It's even filmed dark,
It's filmed very dark, which is such a,
such
going
a contrast
back,
compared
and
to summer films.
I'm not going to rant too much on this, but the first films were very bright and
very
colorful,
kiddish.
And now it's just dark and gray. And I really like that. And it's a very dark film.
It definitely brings like a gritty nature to the films.
It's very gritty, but I really like that. And going back to the cafeteria, there's scenes that I want to see that if they didn't put them in the movie, I'd be pissed. I'd be really upset. And they got the confrontation and talking about Snape. They had to get Snape's backstory right, and they did.
Definitely. It was the most important part of the movie, probably.
Yeah, I don't really know why they moved it from the Shrieking Shack to a boathouse. That didn't make sense, but I don't care.
Maybe?
Convenience, maybe.
Budget.
But I don't care. It was awesome. And Alan Rickman, special shout out, Alan Rickman.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. And the backstory was really good, and I really enjoyed that.
I mean, it's good when fans are sobbing behind you.
Oh, yeah. I was looking, and in the theater, people are, crying and sobbing. And he's at that point when he dies, he's a villain.
Yeah, definitely. But and then we learn the backstory, and these people are like sobbing because now they love Snape. Everything has been.
However, other death scenes in the film,
kind of fell short.
Like, I forget which one. Fred or George, one of the twins.
Yeah, the twin.
Yeah, one of them. Fred or George. He just all of a sudden, oh yeah, he's dead.
By the way, he is.
And same thing with Lupin and Tonks, that's how it is in the books. Lupin and Tonks are dead.
Yeah.
And you just kind of see them, and they're dead without revealing any of their backstory.
Yeah.
Like, what about the kid?
What about the kid? I bet
like
people
they
were
don't
so
talk
confused.
they don't talk about his kid at all. And there's one point I remember people behind me, and Harry's like, oh yeah, and Lupin's kid. And there's one person behind me who's like, Lupin has a kid?
What?
What? And just like looking like freaking out, like, oh my God, where did this come from?
Snap her fingers too.
Yeah. So there are certain things that are rushed through and not really done well, but there are other scenes that are done very well that I really have to admire.
What did you think about the scene after Harry dies, after he's is killed and
not only
with Dumbledore?
Oh, the Dumbledore's everything leading up to it. You know, the film's so fast-paced and action-oriented, and when he pulls his head out of the pensive, knowing he has to die, and everything just stops.
Yeah.
The music and his face. Great performance by Radcliffe.
Definitely.
That's the first time in the series where I was legitimately impressed, and all of that was handled very well. And you get to the scene with Dumbledore. I loved it.
I love how they included no music at all, like, and it was just this stark white. You know, it was perfect. It really was.
Perfect. You know, and seeing Dumbledore, just any chance to see Dumbledore.
It's awesome.
Not the Dumbledore from movies 4 and 5, the stern, no, but the Dumbledore we love. It was very well done, and I really enjoyed the scene very much.
After that, you know, one of my favorite scenes, probably next to that one, was the epic dive of Voldemort and Harry off the cliff during their duel out.
I hated it.
Why?
What?
Why would you hate that? Why would you hate that?
Well, because it's not that it's
Explain
cliche.
it to me.
It's just that it seemed like a way to just drag the movie out, and that was a complaint I had.
That is not what I thought at all.
The ending confrontation is in the book. Neville just kills a snake, and it just gets to the action. In the movie, they just drag it out so much.
Well, you know what? We've had 7 films to drag it out, so why not drag it out a little bit more?
Let's just get to the ending fight.
But you know what? No, because you know why I like The Fall? If you look at it from a literary standpoint, right? The Fall represents this epic struggle that we've seen between Harry and Voldemort for 7 books. Why not go ahead and put this little fall where you see them ripping at each other?
It's not a little fall.
I know.
It's not a little fall.
Okay, but
and you're going with me, and you know, Voldemort, no, and going down there. And
but you see them tearing at each other, and it's the proverbial struggle of 7 books.
And I get that. Once again, I'm not saying it's I am kind of saying it's unnecessary. I get why it's there, and I get why you like it, and it's not a horrible scene.
Would you have liked it more had it not been cutting back and forth between Neville and the snake?
I think that's it. I would have liked the scene more if it wasn't just cutting back between them and Neville, because it was just in the book it's taken care of. And if they would have just focused on the fight between Harry, then I think I would have appreciated it more.
Yeah.
Instead of cutting back and forth and back and forth. You know, but that said, it's an epic ending, and I thought the ending was perfect. The ending before the epilogue was perfect.
Yeah, okay, and post-epilogue.
I have to make that crystal clear.
Everything up until
the epilogue.
Epilogue.
And when I was reading the book, and this is just me, it's a bias I have. When reading the book and I got to the epilogue, I was like, you don't need it.
You were like, are you serious?
We don't need to know. We don't need to see them together. They lived. We know who ends up with, unless something happens that, we know.
Okay, I agree that the epilogue is kind of unnecessary. You know, it was my least favorite part of the movie, probably it was my least favorite part of the book, but I can see why it's necessary. Think about people, you know, these people are invested in these characters, right?
Yeah.
They're invested, they want to know. Just because we know, like, oh yeah, Ron and Hermione are going to get together, Ginny and Harry are going to get together, it doesn't matter. People want that spelled out for them.
And you have the
they want to know that Harry is going to go and be an Auror and they're going to have kids together, you know, and then that gives them the option.
But did they tell you he was an Auror?
Yeah.
Okay, then I missed that.
In the book they did. Well, in the movie they don't, but
Midnight
in the book
showing,
they
guys.
do.
That's why I missed it. Midnight showing. Okay, it's just you don't need it. It's unnecessary. It's cheesy, and the aging special effects.
I mean, the aging special effects were poor, but you know, fans would have been in an uproar had this not happened. They want that closure.
Well,
they want that, and they want the option to like go and write fan fiction too.
True, and it does provide that opportunity. So that's good.
So it never has to end for the fans.
And I guess it's the last film, so I guess fans deserve some closure. Anyway, enough with our opinion. You Potter fans out there with your little glow-up wands watching this, let us know what you think. Post your comments and tell us what your reaction to Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 was.